Do you understand how dark it is? How far down the line we are? How late it is?
Okay, Dr. Bob Bowman thought he would be to his home by now, but he's not. He's on the road in his RV, driving his RV across the country. We've interviewed Willie Nelson from his bus before going down the road, so we'll see how this goes. But he's going to be to a parking spot in about 20 minutes. So we're honored to have him. Robert Bowman is a former director of the Advanced Space Program Development for the U.S. Air Force and the Ford and Carter administrations, and a former U.S. Air Force lieutenant colonel with 101 combat missions over Vietnam. He holds a Ph.D. in aeronautics and nuclear engineering. And despite his involvement in the space program and defense, he emerged as an early public critic of the Strategic Defense Initiative, SDI, a.k.a. Star Wars, during the Reagan administration. Is also a critic of George W. Bush's administration's national missile system. And he's a 9/11 researcher, truther. He's a great man, and we're honored to have him on with us. We're going to talk first, before he gets parked, about the latest 9/11 truth, about the talk of Iran supposedly having a nuke, and they're going to nuke us. The government now saying Homeland Security's #1 threat is the American people. I mean, we knew this was really being set up in the shadows, but now it's out in the open. The draconian Orwellian system we're sliding into. We're going to discuss this first with Dr. Bob Bowman. Then we're going to get into Star Wars, how advanced it was, what he can talk about that's been declassified or leaked that he's allowed to discuss, versus what he projects they've got today. Dr. Bob Bowman, good to have you here with us.
Thanks, Alex. Good to be back.
There is so much going on, so much happening, but before we go to break, what do you think of 15 months into Barack Obama's administration? What do you think of him?
Well, of course, like so many, I'm very disappointed, particularly with the expansion of the war in Afghanistan and extending it into Pakistan, and even talking now, he isn't, but, you know, others talking about the possibility of going into Iran, and the new justifications of that based on this supposed Pentagon determination that, gee whiz, they might have not only nuclear weapons but intercontinental ballistic missiles by 2015 if they get enough foreign help. I think that's a bunch of baloney myself. Ballistic missiles are an extremely advanced, high-technology project, and there are very few countries in the world that can pull that off, and some of them have been trying for decades, like North Korea, without success. I think this is just another justification doing for what a minority in the Pentagon want to do, and whether they're doing it because the Israelis want to do it or they're doing it for some other dumb reason, I don't know. But with our military already overextended and depleted and demoralized, it would be a horrendous mistake. Iran is much stronger militarily, a much larger country than Iraq, and I mean, it would be, I think, the end of the United States as we know it.
Well, sir, I heard Fox News last night on the radio saying Iran now has intercontinental ballistic long-range missiles, and we've got to go in. And it's all over the news today, just like they said Iraq had nukes or WMDs. I mean, this is a replay of 2003, is it not?
Of course it is, and it's total malarkey.
Well, stay there, sir. We're going to come right back and get into this disaster for the United States. We've got the Russian president saying it could be the beginning of World War III. We're going to talk about it all on the other side with Dr. Bob Bowman, and we'll discuss Homeland Security now saying they're worried about Iran nuking us with a suitcase nuke and working with domestic groups. Homeland Security's got to be used on the right-wingers now. We're going to go go inside the secretive Star Wars program that's really a preemptive, offensive sneak attack weapons system with Dr. Bob Bowman, the former head of the Star Wars program. He joins us as he hurtles down the highway in his RV. Robert Bowman is a former director of the Advanced Space Program Development for the U.S. Air Force, holds a Ph.D. in aeronautics and nuclear engineering, flew 101 combat missions over Vietnam, bombing missions. And he joins us today, and we really appreciate him coming on. For stations that just joined us, some people that just joined us, we were talking about the new hype to go into Iran. They're changing the last letter of Iraq, the Q, and putting an N on it to make Iran. And they're saying they've got secret nuclear technology nobody else has got, with no proof, to make enriched uranium, weapons-grade uranium, without centrifuges. They're saying they've got ICBMs that can hit us now. The Pentagon says maybe in 5 years. North Korea is much more advanced and can't ever get them off the ground. They blow up almost every time, just right on the pad. Sometimes they go up a few thousand feet. I mean, even our own government, the 50s, 60s, and 70s, had large portions of their ICBMs when they were being tested blowing up, or blowing up before they left the atmosphere. But, oh, no, and they've got magnetic pulse weapons, the news says, that can destroy all electronics. Here's Reuters. Iran missile may be able to hit U.S. Here's another one. Times of London. Pentagon chiefs raise threat of attack as Iran taunts U.S. with missile display. So we can show our weapons, but they can't. And here's another one. Al-Qaeda chief in Iraq, captured, killed, never actually existed, recaptured, now killed again. They've announced over and over again they kill these Al-Qaeda guys and never retract the last guy they killed, even though they claim they kill them again. And then here's another one over here where they're claiming that Fox News is claiming that, in fact, I'm looking for my article, just print it again, Fox News headline, Osama bin Laden has a Facebook. And then it admits in the next line it's not even him. So anybody could create a Facebook, say they're threatening us as Osama bin Laden, and it always turns out it's fake, but that's the proof that they're going to kill us if we don't give all our rights up. And as we went to break, Dr. Bowman, you were saying this is all a fraud and that this could basically end the United States. Go through that scenario for us.
Well, we're being lied to again, as you know, about all this stuff about Iran as justification for the war that a few people want to get us into, as if we didn't have enough illegal corporate wars of aggression right now. And if we take on Iran, which is much bigger and more powerful than Iraq was, and we're still bogged down in Iraq, where are we going to get the military for that? Our military is already overextended with what they've got on their plate. And, of course, what is Russia going to do? What is China going to do? And would we be taking on much more than we can handle? And I believe we've already got more than we can handle, and we've got to get out of where we are, and absolutely no attack on Iran. It would be another false attack based on lies, and I don't think they're going to do it because most of the people surrounding Obama are they're Trilateral Commission, they're globalists, but most of them are not neocons, and I think they're a little more rational than Cheney and his minions pulling George W. Bush's strings. So, and the people in the Pentagon now are more rational than Rumsfeld and some of the generals he had working for him. So I don't see them succeeding in pulling this off, even with this massive campaign of lies. But, I'm going to work very hard to prevent it, and I'll probably have to put out another open letter to the Pentagon, just like I did in 2007, to keep Cheney from attacking Iran then.
All right, let me stop you there.
To do it again.
Doctor, let me stop you there, and we'll go over some of what you said in your letter, and they did listen to you. We had Fox Fallon refuse in 2008 to launch an attack on Iran then, so they've had a lot of people resign that basically stopped Cheney, and how that ties into 888. For those that don't know, the Times of London and other publications have now talked to diplomats and others who were in the meetings when Cheney engineered through NATO and Georgia and Israel the sneak attack on South Ossetia to test the Russians, and that Cheney was saying, let's go ahead and have a nuclear war with them. And the head of the Russian general staff, the Air Force head, went on TV 3 days into it because they were landing more NATO forces in Georgian capital, and said, we may have to have a nuclear war with you. And so this shows the megalomania, and it appears with Gates and others that we still have the Cheney people in there, and they're replaying all the same propaganda that we saw before Oklahoma City, before 9/11.